Sneakers, right. We all know them, but have you ever thought of them as, like, revolutionary?
Revolutionary.
Yeah, revolutionary. Because over in South Africa, there's this whole sneaker scene that's blowing up. And it's not just about, looking fresh.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Not just about looking fresh, huh?
Nope, these brands have stories, man. Powerful stories. Challenging the norm, building empires, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, you're right. This is way more interesting than I thought it would be. So we're talking about sneakers, South Africa, but it's about so much more than just the shoes themselves.
Exactly. And, digging into these articles, it's clear these brands aren't just popping up out of nowhere. They're tapping into something much deeper.
Something real.
100% real, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And it's something a lot of people might not realize. Think about it. For many South Africans, finding good shoes, ones that last and don't break the bank, it's a real struggle.
Yeah, makes sense.
And for a long time, the big global brands, they weren't really paying attention to those needs, were they?
It's like they were invisible, an afterthought in the whole global market thing.
You got it. And that's where these homegrown brands like, say, Drip, saw their chance. They made quality and affordability a priority, with designs that really connected with everyday life, especially in the townships.
You know what? I'm hooked already, and I haven't even seen one of these sneakers. Although I did notice something interesting. Drip's slogan is, "Walk your journey."
Oh, I like that.
It feels like more than just a tagline, wouldn't you say? Like there's something more to it.
You're picking up on something really crucial there, that slogan. It hints at a deeper story, one that goes way beyond just the product itself. And that actually brings us perfectly to our next point. You're spot on about that slogan, walk your journey. Brilliant, really. Drip and brands like Bathu, too, they've figured something out. It's not enough to just sell a product anymore.
It's like wear these shoes, and you're not just wearing shoes, you're part of something bigger.
Exactly. They're selling a feeling, an aspiration.
Okay, so how do you even bottle that? How does a brand pull that off? Make you feel like that, I mean.
It's all about tapping into something that really resonates with people. And in this case, both Drip and Bathu, they've really nailed this idea of, like, selling a story that people want to be a part of.
So what's the story?
It's a story of resilience, of pride, of overcoming the odds. Think about it. Drip's designs, they're often these bold colors, patterns inspired by traditional South African textiles. And their marketing. Forget about those generic stock photos. They're featuring local artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, people from the townships, showing their journeys, their achievements.
Because you're saying these shoes, they become more than shoes. They're like symbols.
Symbols of resilience, exactly. It all ties back to this born in the township ethos.
Turning something that was maybe like overlooked or even looked down on into a source of pride, that's powerful.
It's about reclaiming that narrative.
Yeah.
And you can see how intentional they are about it. Both of these brands, in their marketing, they prominently use the phrase, proudly South African.
Which hits different than just seeing like made in wherever, that this is a statement.
It's about representation, right?
Yep.
Seeing yourself reflected in the brands you support.
100%. People want to feel seen, heard, like their stories matter. And they'll get behind brands that get that. But, I mean, building a brand like this, especially in a place like South Africa, facing its own challenges, that's got to be tough, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not easy. There are some serious obstacles these businesses have to overcome.
Obstacles like what? What are we talking about here specifically?
Well, for starters, imagine trying to compete with these international giants, right? The Nikes, the Adidas, with their endless budgets and global reach.
Yeah, that's a David and Goliath situation for sure.
Exactly. And one of the biggest hurdles for Black-owned businesses in South Africa, especially in the beginning, funding.
Makes sense. You need money to make money, as they say.
You got it. And without those initial investments, it's incredibly difficult to scale up, to reach a wider audience, to even think about competing on that global level.
Yeah.
Not to mention the challenge of breaking into a market that's already dominated by those big names.
Yeah, consumer loyalty is a real thing.
Huge. People have their favorite brands, their go-tos. It's hard to convince someone to switch.
You're preaching to the choir, my friend. I am a creature of habit, for sure.
Right. So not only do these entrepreneurs have to secure funding, but they have to overcome this perception of value. They have to prove that their product, locally made, is just as good, if not better, than the international competition.
Okay, so you've got the funding hurdle, the perception hurdle. What else?
Then there's the logistics of it all.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, distribution, building trust with suppliers. And all the while, pushing back against this idea that, for whatever reason, imported automatically equals better.
Which is crazy. Some of the best stuff I've ever owned made right here at home.
Right. But that's the mindset they're up against. It's like they're playing catch-up from day one. But here's the thing. Despite all of that, these brands, Drip, Bathu, they're not just surviving, they're thriving.
That's inspiring, man.
They had a vision, they worked incredibly hard, and they knew the power of their story. It clearly resonated.
So for someone listening to this, taking it all in, what's the key takeaway from all of this, from this whole sneaker revolution happening in South Africa?
I think it comes down to this. The most successful businesses out there, they do two things really, really well. They solve a problem that their audience actually has, a real problem, and they create an emotional connection that goes beyond just the buying and selling of a thing. It's about offering a story, an identity, something people want to be a part of.
And in this case, that's a story about township pride, about cultural representation, about proving that even facing huge obstacles, amazing things are possible.
Exactly. And it makes you think, right, what other products, what other industries could benefit from this kind of approach, this story-driven approach, especially in places where people feel unseen, unheard? Makes you think, what stories are out there waiting to be told?
Great question to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time.